It's been almost 20 years since USC won a championship, so today I'm going to attempt to fix the Trojans, but instead of winning just one title with them, I have to win at least 2 in 5 seasons, and I also have to complete these 6 challenges if I want to consider myself successful. We're picking up at the end of the 2023 season, and after finishing 9-3 with losses to these 3 teams, Caleb Williams declared for the NFL draft, and now USC is a part of the Big Ten. The 12-team playoff is a thing as well, and I'm not sure how I'll accomplish all this in just 5 years alongside winning 2 national championships, but if I can't do it, I have to give away a jersey to a random commenter, and our schedule in this first season is brutal. We did get a few solid recruits like Chester Huffman, and the 81 overall edge is going to help our defense a ton, but the main focus is sophomore Malachi Nelson. The quarterback shot up 6 overalls this offseason, and I'm hoping he's able to get us into the playoffs, but I'm only allowed to jump into 3 games a season, so we have to sim ones like this against Utah State where we win by 24. Even without Caleb Williams, the offense looks really solid so far, but our next 3 matchups are against top 8 teams, and for recruiting, when I go over to defense, we need a lot of positions filled. So since Lincoln Riley has this special ability where players can instantly commit, my first strategy is going to be just offering scholarships to every player that's number 1 on our board already, and there's our first one. It honestly has gotten us a ton of prospects, and we're also going to get Kellen Ramsey, which is massive because he has 95 speed and can play anywhere. I'd say that we're already on track to sign the number 1 class in the country, and that's one of our 6 challenges, so that could be massive. But to make that happen, I'll also need to sign all of these other guys, and it's going to be a tight battle for Eddie Rogers. The 5-star from Texas is the best wide receiver in the country, and now our focus is on the first game we're jumping into. I don't know why USC had to join the Big Ten. That just makes our life so much more difficult, but Malachi Nelson's had a good start, and the issue has been his teammates like Zachariah Branch just dropping the ball. We're still moving it though, and I'm hoping we're able to end the half with a go-ahead touchdown. I am going to try to scramble around and see if Nelson can get it, but he's slow and he fumbles, so I've already learned that he's going to have to be a pocket passer. And the Penn State offense did not have a good first half, but they've been playing way better in this third quarter. That's not good because they also have the home crowd behind them, and Drew Aller here is not going to go down. He continues to fight for a touchdown, and with 3 minutes left in the game, we are still down by 7. I need to roll out here to escape the pressure, and that is another fumble. I know Malachi Nelson's young still, but that's so frustrating, and it stinks for him that in his second start ever, he's playing the number 1 defense in the country. In that environment, I wasn't expecting a win, but that's why it's good that there's a 12-team playoff, because when you play in the best conference in the country, your season's never really over, as with just one result, everything can turn around, but we are also going to lose to Michigan, and we shouldn't still be a top 15 team at 1-2. I think it'd be smart to get our visit week out of the way early against Washington, and if we can win this one, maybe we'll turn things around. We're at the Coliseum, so we have our home field advantage, and we have an opportunity here to score the first touchdown of the game. Zachariah Branch and Malachi Nelson noticed it was cover 2, and they just hooked up for the easy tutty, while also hopefully ending the second quarter with another one, but he's tackled short, and with no timeouts, we couldn't get another snap off. Looking back on it, if we could have just finished that off, it would be over at this point, but now we need to pick up the 3rd and 10, and it's dropped, so it seems like Zach Branch's issue with holding onto the ball isn't going away anytime soon, and Washington's going to have a chance to drive down the field and tie it up. Our defense has been much better than it was the previous year, but the issue has been the offense that's just very inconsistent, and on 2nd and 8, I'm only sending 3 players at Dylan Morris, which was not the right decision. There are a lot of prospects visiting, so if we can't pull this one off, it's going to be ugly for our recruiting class, and what a massive throw that was. We have worked it inside field goal range already, so we should be able to seal the game with a field goal. Just going to try to get a few more extra yards here, and you know what? We might as well take the touchdown instead. That is exactly what we needed to turn things around, and that resulted in a few more players committing to the program, but what's more important than that to me is the lead that we have on Eddie Rogers, and surely we will not lose to Iowa in this next matchup. Since we've already lost 2 conference games, we might not have a chance at winning the Big Ten, but even with 2 losses, we continue to move up the polls, and we should be able to continue to win, but on the road at Wisconsin, we lost by 21, and there's no way we also get defeated by Nebraska. Okay, that makes sense. This is going to be the last of 3 games that I hop into, and that's only because we need to have a winning record versus Notre Dame, but you're not going to believe what I just saw on the injury report. It's starting to make a lot more sense why we lost to Wisconsin, and without Malachi Nelson for pretty much the rest of the season, it is all over for us. Miller Moss just hasn't been a great quarterback, and because of that, we lost by 17 points, which sucks because it all went downhill so quickly, and I'm just going to sim to the end of the season. We're just off to a terrible start to completing all of these challenges, but on the bright side, we did win our final few games, and we also made a bowl, which we should win. Obviously, that's nothing compared to making the 12-team playoff, but if we wouldn't have had so many injuries, I think we could have made it, and these stats don't really tell us how good Malachi Nelson could be, but we did learn that we have a stud in freshman wide receiver Mekhi Lemon, and it sucks that we're going to lose Marshawn Lloyd to graduation. Normally, I don't point out defenders, but our right end racked up 10.5 sacks, and we were so close close to finishing with a top 5 defense, but now we just have to take care of business in the Quick Lane Bowl, and it was definitely nice to have Malachi Nelson back. As for the national championship, somehow Toledo made it, and it looks like they're not going to pull it off, but you can tell a lot of crazy things are going to happen on this dynasty file. Next year, we need to at least make sure we sneak into the playoffs, and I'm surprised Lincoln Riley didn't get fired. As for players leaving, it looks like we're losing about 11 or 12 starters, but I'm not upset because if all goes right, we're going to land Eddie Rogers, and this recruiting class might be the best I've ever had. With Lincoln Riley and a little bit of extra cash, I was able to bring in 8 total 5-stars, and we've completed our first challenge by signing the #1 class. If these guys develop correctly over the next 4 years, we should have a lot of championships coming, but I need to make sure that I put all of these athletes in the right position, and the big one is Kellen Ramsey with 95 speed at quarterback. Also, I think Eddie Rogers is going to make for an amazing wide receiver, and with a new level 24 offensive coordinator, things just got even better. Now my favorite part of the offseason is here, and with training results, the best 2 players on this team are Zachariah Branch and Malachi Nelson. There were a few disappointments like Anthony Lucas only going up by 1, but all around I feel like we're about to have a much better season than the one we just had. This year we're projected to be the 20th best team in the country with a 91 overall roster, but playing in the Big Ten makes it so hard for us to consistently win, so it's a good thing we have Lincoln Riley, who's already gotten us 4 instant commits. I'm hoping that we don't start this season out with a loss to Iowa, and I'm impressed that they put up 17 points on us. That's a lot for them, and now we're playing Michigan State at home, but with 4 minutes left in the second half, nobody scored a single point yet, and I don't know what that throw was from Malachi Nelson, but it's going to get intercepted, and I don't think anybody's going to catch the Michigan State defender. For a 92 overall quarterback, he is incredibly off target half the time, but we can get something going on this drive, and inside the red zone, I'm going to use a little bit of play action, which didn't work. Michigan State did not fall for it, so I think we're going to get held to 3 here unless we can somehow pull off a miracle play with Nelson, and it's not going to happen. It's embarrassing that we've only scored 3 points, but hopefully our offense has a better second half, and it's taken us until the 4th quarter, but we're going to score a touchdown. It might be a little bit too late for a comeback, but I am hoping for the best as we get another stop, and on this 3rd and 2, they are pressing Zach Branch, which is a terrible decision. He has burners on him, and that is going to go for hopefully a touchdown as he just has the speed over these players. I'm feeling good about this defense now. On 3rd and 22, they're not going to come close to picking it up, and we have a chance to go down and get the win. 3rd and 15 is never an ideal situation, but I'm just going to roll out, find Raleek Brown, and there is plenty of space for him to juke out and get a few extra yards for us. That was massive because it seemed like we were in a bit of trouble. Now I'm lasering it up the seam to him to get us all the way inside the 10, and depending where we get on this 3rd and goal, we might go for it on 4th down. We're going to take the halfback wheel route, but Amarian Peterson just couldn't manage to keep his feet in, and that makes this a massive 4th and goal where he is going to dive in. It was so close, but it counts as a touchdown, and that is how you start a season 2-0. Malachi Nelson is trying to be much better as a junior, and if we lose on the road to Rutgers, I don't know what I would possibly think. It was actually close as they put up 38 points, and our defense isn't on the level of what we had last season, but as for visit week, I think I'm going to schedule everybody against Oregon, and since we're both undefeated, this is definitely one I should jump into. It's so weird that this is a Big Ten conference matchup, but it seems like the Big Ten West has taken a step back, and just like in real life, it's much weaker than the East, but Oregon is still good, and if anybody's going to keep us from winning our division, it's them, so we need to pick up this 4th and inches, and Amarian Peterson did just that. It feels like we are about to tie it up on this drive. I just need the man-to-man coverage to not cover us there, and Oregon has worked it down inside our red zone, but we could hold them to a field goal if they can't pick this up, and they drop it. The rain ended up benefiting us, and that could be one of the deciding factors that gets us a win. However, after a holding penalty and a sack, I'm no longer feeling as confident. I just need to make sure I get this ball out in time, and we got very lucky that we didn't give up a safety there. They are going to somehow sneak between those 2 players, and don't tell me he's about to take this to the house. This is a 4th and 2 that we can't afford to not pick up. I am just going to have to wait for that route to get open, and that was a very tight window, but we're down by 10 going into the 4th, and just like the Michigan State game, we're pushing for a late comeback. I believe it's possible if we can get a stop on 3rd and 4, and let's see if we can do anything with this punt return. Scott Moses has some speed on him. I think he's our 3rd or 4th string halfback, and it looks like he was able to get around all the defenders there. He is going to take this to the crib, and I knew it was going to be special. Unfortunately, our defense would go on to give up a touchdown, which I guess you could expect, so we need to at least get a field goal to send the game to overtime, and I'd like to avoid that altogether by just going for the win. This is a tight window, and of course it was intercepted. That was the one thing that couldn't happen there, but when you try to force it into a throwing window, of course the defender will react, and we just lost on our home field to the Ducks. I still think we're a playoff team, but we do need some time to develop, and let's just hope that we take care of business the next 2 weeks before we play Notre Dame. We did it against Nebraska, and against Washington we do as well, but with those 2 results, we've somehow fallen in the polls, and we can't afford to lose to Notre Dame again. This one's at their place though, where we haven't won since 2005, and with 3 minutes left, we've only been able to score 7 points, which is not normal for us. Just like against Penn State last year, their defense has shut us down, and we need to pick up this 4th and 8, but they were able to swat it down, and I just have to give credit to number 40 for the effort on this play. After getting front flipped, he got all the way back up and just blocked the pass. I can't believe we've fallen to 0-2 against them in this rebuild, but that's not good news for completing that challenge, and I don't know how we continue to have success in recruiting, but we are building a better program. If we're able to win out, I think we're still going to make the playoffs, but we have to finish these last 4 games really strong, and by week 12, we're up to number 18 in the polls, but Stanford's on our schedule next, and this could be a close matchup that we actually annihilated them in. This has to be the best game Malachi Nelson has ever had, and we also destroyed Georgia Southern, so we've moved ourselves back into the top 12, but we have to finish out the regular season taking care of business against UCLA, which we do. Now, what I wasn't expecting with that result was to make the Big Ten championship, and if Malachi Nelson throws for 400 yards, he'll lead the country in passing, so we're going into this one with the mentality of slinging it, and on this first drive, we have flown down the field, which results in a touchdown. Penn State embarrassed us last year, if I'm remembering correctly, so I just don't want to see the same happen this time, and we are doing well so far. This needs to be intercepted, and Drew Aller's not off to a good start. Our only issue is Zach Branch is out for the year with a torn shoulder, so it's been a bit more difficult to pass the ball on Penn State, but Mekhi Lemon has been the go-to target. I cannot believe that we are in a position where we're about to go up by 18 points, but maybe we'll be able to pull off a deep playoff run, and I don't understand that with a minute left in the third quarter, how Penn State was able to get it back within 7, but if we hit this field goal, we're still going to have a 2-possession lead on them, and I'm very concerned that our defense is starting to show its true colors, but we dropped the pick, and that literally could have been game. We would have been able to run out the clock up by 10, and now instead they're going to pick up this 3rd down, and I'm just disgusted with how this is going now. It took them a while, but they're playing much better than they did earlier in the game, and that's not good. We're in a position where we must pick up this 3rd and 7, and the man coverage has just clamped everything, so we've had to rely on our defense, and as you can imagine, that has not gone well. We can't make a tackle. It's just ridiculous. We are in this position now, and of course the corner route was open. That was a beautiful catch from the Penn State receiver, but it's left us with just 42 seconds left, and Malachi Nelson has played so well, but the pressure is really on for us if we can't get something going. It's nice to know that we have 3 timeouts in our back pocket, but they are sending a ton of blitzes at us, and as long as they continue to mix up the defense, it's going to be hard to read it. Their man coverage is sticking like glue, so we need them to go back to zone so bad, but then there's only going to be a few checkdowns that we can take. We're still about 40 yards out, and we only have 1 timeout remaining, so we need to get the first here, but he's marked short, so I've had to burn it, and we cannot get tackled in bounds. They've already gotten pressure in, so let's just throw it away. It's really going to all come down to one Hail Mary. Let's just hope for the best here. There are a lot of defenders in the area, and that is not how I thought we'd end our season. Making Malachi Nelson the leading passer in the country wasn't worth it, because even though we were able to complete our second challenge of the video, we've been just eliminated from the playoffs as a 13 seed, and 8-4 Arizona did not deserve to make it over us. I'm just gonna have to hope that Malachi Nelson doesn't declare for the NFL draft, and the same goes for our best wide receiver, Mekhi Lemon. We could even lose Amarian Peterson since he's a redshirt sophomore, and our bowl games against Oregon, who we've already played, but this time it seems like we're about to take them down, as on 3rd and 7 we are going to convert to Michael Jackson III for a lot more, and maybe this will be enough to convince all the boys that they should return back for another year. I mean, if we're ever going to win 2 championships, we need to start to pick up the pace, and all of them returning would be huge, because I think with another year of development, they could beat a team like Oklahoma, who just won the national championship over Florida. Well, besides losing a lot of seniors to graduation and the NFL draft, the only other players exiting the program are 1 transfer and these 2 offensive studs, but I think we can at least convince Deuce Robinson to come back, and Zach Branch has gotten hurt every year anyways. He might be missed, but only for the few games that he'd play in, and with this recruiting class, I only targeted 15 players, but of all the prospects that I went after, I made sure that they were very good so they can add to our depth. Fullback Eric Levine was one of those players, and he becomes a 77 overall tight end, but what excites me the most is these training results, and how did Malachi Nelson regress? I'm sure he'll still do very well, but I didn't think our best player would be tight end Deuce Robinson, and our best edge rushers continue to not develop well. As I look at our schedule, it seems like one that would be manageable to make the playoffs with, and we don't have many future needs as I've gotten so many young guys in the building. That makes recruiting so much less stressful, and also gives us the ability to just go after the best talent possible. We aren't projected to win the Big Ten, but we're also not far from it, and I can't believe that we're only a 93 overall team, but that makes sense why we're ranked 10th. We still haven't even had anybody in the Heisman race, but if we can start beating down on our opponents, maybe we'll get a player in there, and I can promise I'm never going to fear Iowa and Sim because they don't put up any points. Malachi Nelson literally did whatever he wanted, and I'm chasing after these recruits, but they might never start for us, so the real names to focus on are players that are already on this roster, because for example, Kellen Ramsey will most likely start at quarterback for us next year, and we just need everybody ready to continue to develop while we also move in the right direction. We beat Michigan State, and if we lost to Rutgers, I would have been ticked. And going into week 5, just like last year, we're undefeated, but this time our quarterback is at the top of the Heisman watch, and even though we're playing on the road, I don't see how we could lose to Oregon. They were able to take us down in the rain last year, and our offense is even better now. I am going to try to roll out here and hope something gets free. I do see Eddie Rogers deep, and it looks like that safety didn't stick with him, so I'm going to find him, and he's going to take it to the house. So what a beautiful way to end the first half, and these pink jerseys from Oregon are sick. I'm going to say that's our excuse for why they're still in it, because when you're swagged out like that, you just play so much better. We need to hold them on 3rd and goal though, and that's one of the most crucial stops you'll ever see. It made sure that it stayed a tied game, and I'm going to go for a deep bomb here. I think Jordan Young has the speed to outrun all of those Oregon defenders, and we've had so many broken deep plays against the Ducks, but I'm not complaining. We can't give up a long 3rd down though, because that's most likely going to lead to a touchdown. And on 2nd and goal, I think we have everything boxed up with man coverage, but we've already held them on the goal line once, so I can't expect that we're going to do it again. And come on boys, tackle him. All right, well, I didn't see this happening, but we just have to get one more stop. Just make the tackle. Come on, please be short. Yes! It was this diving tackle from 34 that just tripped up that foot, and we were able to get over to the ball just in time to stop him. So it seems like we are about to make sure our undefeated season stays alive, and I can't believe how well Malachi Nelson is playing. Well, there's no reason we should lose to Nebraska, but I'm sure Washington's going to be tough next week, and when you're this good, it is so easy to recruit. Our defense might not finish in the top 5 this season, but we are throwing the ball a ton, and with a minute remaining, we are up by 4 on the Huskies. But if we're going to seal this win, we're going to need to get a stop on Joel Key, and here on 3rd and 5, they're just going with the halfback draw, which we are not going to stop. So the game's going to be in the hands of Malachi Nelson, and after a solid kick return from Scott Moses, we are in decent field positioning already, but he takes a sack, so things are not going great. I'm just going to pepper Jordan Young with this throw, and since that was on 3rd down, that was massive for us. Now we're going to roll out with the play action, and I knew it would work. We have the crosser down at the 10. Jordan Young has come up massive for us with back-to-back huge catches, but this halfback screen's not going to work. I want to get out of bounds, and I would hate to settle for a field goal, but it's looking like that might happen. This could be a sack on this play. Just going to roll out with Nelson and throw it. I didn't think Makai Lemon was going to hold on to the football, but if we're able to go undefeated, this is going to be looked back upon as the play that made this season so special, and I can't wait for the Notre Dame game. There's no guarantee that we're going to be undefeated for it since we do have a tough schedule, but I was most worried about Minnesota because we have Wisconsin and Stanford next, so it's no surprise that we took care of business in both of these matchups, and right now the top 3 spots in the country all belong to Big Ten teams. We've also now landed all 10 of the prospects on the board that I went after, but the entire rebuild comes down to this one matchup because we have to beat Notre Dame in this game. If we don't, it'll be impossible for me to have a positive record versus our rivals, so we need to keep our foot on the gas by scoring touchdown after touchdown. Amarian Peterson's not going to fight his way in here, but I'm confident we're going to be able to figure it out, and on the play action, that is going to be a touchdown. That means Malachi Nelson's now set a school record, and I can't believe he's already thrown for 43, now 44 of them. Notre Dame just keeps responding back though, as our defense has given up another touchdown, so we need to get one ourselves, and the Irish have been so difficult to beat in this dynasty. Here on 3rd and goal, I am just hoping for the best that the drag gets open, and it does. We make the throw, so 97 overall Deuce Robinson gets the touchdown, but with 52 seconds remaining, again it's tied up, so this took a lot of work, but we were able to go down the field and get another touchdown, and now I'm relying on our defense. Shelby picks it, so that should seal it. Mario Cristobal can take notes here, and I'm so glad that we finally took down Notre Dame. That means we're now 1-2 versus them, and hoisting this trophy's been a long time coming. Literally everything is going our way as Malachi Nelson still leads the Heisman race, and if 6-5 UCLA of all teams messes this up now, I would have been so upset. We ran through Big Ten conference play with ease, but now we have to take on Penn State, and hopefully our defense can be as good as theirs next year. As for this season though, we need to win the Big Ten championship, but before we finish the rest of the rebuild, a word from today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. I'm excited to try out some Sunbelt stuff today, and it took transferring like 4 times, but JT Daniels has been balling, so I'm going over on his projection, and Jordan McLeod has been crushing it for James Madison, so I'm expecting he'll throw for at least 2 touchdowns against Marshall. If you add more players, you can win up to 25 times your money, but I'm sticking with these 2 and putting in 25 to hopefully win 75. I can also get you a deposit match up to $100 on Prize Picks if you use code BOARD when you sign up, and you might as well see if your state's one of the 31 states it's available in. Now let's get back to the USC rebuild, and even though we got off to a good start in it last year, Penn State was able to beat us, so I'm worried about how this is going to go. They've only gotten better since last year, but the same could be said about us, and Malachi Nelson's played so well so far, putting us up by 7. We've been doing a solid job offensively so far. On this one, they sent a lot of pressure, so I'm just going to roll out, and I'll float it to Amarian Peterson, see what he can do. He jukes out that defender, and I don't think anybody's going to come close to catching him. This is exactly how I would love to end the first half. Our defense might not be great now, but it is definitely improved. On 3rd and 7, we need to intercept this. That's going to be with more. And instead of just running out the clock, I'm making an effort to double their score instead. Just fight your way in here. Malachi Nelson needs to win the Heisman, so I'm just trying to do something last second, and that was an interception instead. Are you kidding me? They have a chance still. It's going to be 42-35. Oh my gosh. If we don't recover this onside kick, I'm not going to want to talk about it. Thankfully, Levine does have hands, but because Penn State has 3 timeouts, it's still not over. What are you doing, Amarian Peterson? I do not want to talk about this. Just finish off the job, boys. Burn them deep with the play action. Please tell me this is game. I knew better than to go for more points there, but I really want to win the Heisman, and it's nice we have a Big Ten Conference championship, but it's time for the moment of truth, and let's go. We got the Heisman. Malachi Nelson put up video game numbers, so of course he should have won, and you can tell that we didn't focus on running the ball. Mekhi Lemon got his touches, though, as he had 17 touchdowns, and this is the first time I've ever had a tight end go over 1,000 receiving yards. With all of that in mind, we've now completed 4 of our 6 challenges, but now we need to start winning championships since we need to get 2 of them, and don't tell me we might have to play Notre Dame again. That is not good, considering the last time we played, it was a very close matchup, but they've beat the reigning national champions, and we're literally so unlucky. We literally cannot lose this game, because it would be impossible to have a winning record in 5 years with USC. If we do, we're going to start it out with a touchdown after they did, though, and it might be the first team to get a stop wins, because they have already scored again. This is ridiculous. We have just 2 high passing attacks. Lemon is going to break free. Come on, you got 2 guys to miss here, and after milking a ton of the clock with 30 seconds left in the first half, we're going to tie it up at 14. It's always going to be a tight battle versus them, and to open up the 3rd quarter, I've worked it down the field on them, and here's a little run since you all probably think I'm passing the ball literally every play. You got to mix it up to catch them off guard, especially because they have already scored again, and this might be an interception. What a catch from Lemon. That broke Marquise Lee's school record, and I think he already has like 155 receiving yards in this game, make it 175. What we need to do after we score is get a stop on defense, and this 3rd and 2 is our opportunity. They go with the run, they kept it, and come on, someone tackle Kenny Minchie. The Irish just can't be stopped right now, and on 3rd and inches, I have to send in a blitz. Again, they fake us out with the read option, though, so it seems like most likely they're about to tie it back up at 28, but if we can stop them on 3rd and goal, I'll be interested to see what happens, and they're not taking the field goal, but why would they run a halfback draw on 4th and 5? If we manage this correctly, we're going to take down Notre Dame, which is massive for us since they're so tough, but it's already a 3rd and 7, and you know what? I'm just going to throw it up to our star. Rodgers catches it. I was so happy we got him in season 1, and he is fast. That was very risky to do in that situation, but I just knew that they'd be more focused on the underneath routes, and we're going to take a sack, but it's fine because we're still going to be up by 2 possessions, and even if they score, in order to get the ball back, they're going to have to recover an onside kick, which is hard, so I'd love to say that it's all over, but I can't 100% guarantee that, and on 3rd and goal, just get a little pressure and thank you. Our goal line defense has been the reason that we are in this position, and that should have been a stop, but instead, our corner made the sorriest swipe at the ball ever, and it wouldn't even surprise me if they recovered this. Thankfully, Rodgers holds on. He's been the player of the game, and we are moving on to the semifinals, where we have to play either Ohio State or Houston. I honestly thought it'd be the Buckeyes, but if they don't recover this onside kick, it's all over, and I know Houston is technically the 4 seed, but they're only an 86 overall, and look at the teams remaining. The top 4 seeds are all that's left, but I'm not worried at all because all of our opponents that could come from this aren't as good. Now, that was obviously an embarrassing sack to take, but I'm just going to throw it up to our tight end over this safety, and maybe this won't be as easy as I thought it would. With a minute and a half left in the first half, we're actually trailing by 6, so we need to take the lead here, but Houston has a guy named Walker Howard at quarterback, and he has been a little bit difficult to stop. He is the sole reason we are ending the second quarter trailing by 2, and if we want to make the championship, we better step it up. I mean, they literally scored a touchdown to start the 3rd quarter, which is a problem, and I hate the fact that with our defense, it is so difficult to get the ball back. We always seem to give up points, and you just can't have that in this situation, but now we have them down in the trenches right where we want them if we're able to hold them. 3rd and goal. This is a big one. I'm looking underneath, and that should have been picked, but I'll take them only getting a field goal out of it, and up to this point, we've been flying down the field. I'm just going to take the first down here, and oh my gosh, that should have definitely been intercepted. I'm not sure how it wasn't, but we're going to convert instead to Lemon, and he has 120 receptions this season alone. I have never seen that happen before in a dynasty, but this team is special, and we need the 2-point conversion. Come on. Now we have to rely on our defense, and I don't feel comfortable doing that because we're going to give up plays like this, and all they need is a field goal to win it, which is scary, but after forcing the big defensive hit there, they're punting it to us on 4th and 4, and I'm not sure why they didn't go for it. We almost fumbled it though, and we have the ball. With a couple of first downs, we could run out the clock, or we could just try to toast them over the top, and you know that I'm going to go for the harder thing. Now we've really put the pressure on them them as we are in field goal range already, and we might as well just take our free touchdown. I'm confident in our defense after getting that last stop, but maybe I shouldn't have been. They've moved it down the field on us pretty well, and we're gonna get the interception with Barnes. That should be game. I'm just gonna go ahead and fall down. But that was not the right decision because Houston still has 3 timeouts remaining. I swear, this is the worst I've ever played in a rebuild video. And if we don't pick up this 3rd and 7, I might cry, but Robinson holds on. So we are headed to the national championship, and Malachi Nelson has come a long way. Our opponent in the title game is either of these 2 teams, and if Middle Tennessee State can hit this long field goal, they are gonna seal it. I cannot believe this is how it worked out, but when we took Houston lightly, we almost lost to them, and the same thing has happened in this game. It should not be tied at 14 at the half, and I don't know why we can't just go out and dominate them like we do against certain Big Ten teams, but we always give up that route, and I swear they're about to beat us if we're not careful. They're only an 81 overall, but they have not been playing like it, and I swear that team overalls in this game are so deceiving, but like always, we hold them on the goal line, and maybe Scott Moses can get a kick return against them since they are a weaker school. I know that their kick return team cannot be the best out there, but their defense sure is, as it's 3rd and 2 now, and I'm just going to go underneath the Makai Lemon. He will get the first down for us, but I just cannot believe how hard it's been to move the ball. The ref's also challenging the catch, and he clearly got both his feet in, so they just wanted to get some easy commercials in, and guess who took a kickoff return to the house? It is now 24-21, and after back-to-back holding penalties, we are on a 3rd and 29 where I just have to float up a prayer, and we actually came down with it. You know what? Whenever Makai Lemon is out there on the field, I'm just going to throw it to him no matter what, and because something fluky is bound to happen, I'm running down as much clock as possible. Our stud is back out there though, and that zone did not go away from him, so we're just going to have to take the flat to Peterson, who jukes free and gets a touchdown, but I'm a little bit afraid that we left too much time on the clock for Middle Tennessee State. I'm going to hit him with a blitz just because I don't think they're going to be expecting it, and he threw it away, but I don't trust our defense to get a stop on 3rd down, and that should have been picked. This football was literally almost in our hands, and then it touched ours, but now we have them on a 4th and 7. I just went straight man coverage. They're throwing it to our corner, and there is no way. I don't know what he was thinking there, but we've just given up another 1st down, and there's a championship on the line, so you all are going to get to see every single defensive play. Please hold on to the ball, please. I know for a fact that if I don't win this game, you all would never let me hear the end of it. And on 4th and 3, they're not going with the run, they go with the pass. I covered everything with Curtis. Please pick it, thank you. That is game. I don't even want to try to return it, but I'm going to do it just in case. And this entire season was chaos from start to finish. There it is though, our first of 2 national championships in this video hopefully, and we have 2 more years to win 1 more and complete these 2 challenges. I gotta say, Malachi Nelson and Makai Lemon were the best 2 players to come through this program in a while, and it pains me to see Makai leave this school early along with Amari and Peterson, but I'm glad they stayed an extra year, and I hope they have a ton of success in the NFL. As for what we're left with, we got exactly what we wanted in recruiting, and with so few players, we still had a top 5 class, so we should be just fine assuming we get good off-season results. And I'm seeing a big jump from Kellen Ramsey up to a 91 overall. Our quarterback has 96 speed, so we're going to run the option, and then halfback Scott Moses has 94, while Jordan Young has 97, so this is going to be a ton of fun. Our schedule also looks the easiest it has ever looked during this entire rebuild, and with a 99 overall defense, I'm feeling confident. After looking at some of these other teams, I think there's a decent chance that we're able to go back-to-back, and I almost think that we could skip over these first 5 games as none of those opponents look very tough. I don't like that we gave up 24 to Nevada and 31 to Rutgers, but maybe USC was never meant to have a good defense, and I'm starting to wonder why all of these matchups are so close, but it looks like we figured it out against Wisconsin. And how did Iowa score 27? I know that we're ranked number 1 right now, but after seeing some of those results, I'm a bit worried, because even though we forced 18 sacks, we've given up a lot of points, but it does make me feel better to see Kellen Ramsey up here on the Heisman watch, and Oregon is always good, so we keep having to jump in against them, and so far it has been very fun to use all this speed on offense. We run around like we're so much faster than everybody else, and I guess we really are, so that should make controlling games pretty simple. All we have to do is get a lead early, and once we go up, we'll start to control the clock and melt it down with our run game, and this strategy is working perfectly as Oregon does not stand a chance. Look at our quarterback putting out the juke moves, and I think he's going to take this one to the crib. I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure if I've thrown a single pass in this game, and in the end, we're going to win 38-0 over the Ducks, which is just an embarrassment. We've never dominated a game like this before, but the second half of our schedule is starting to look a little tougher, so as much as I wanted to jump into the Nebraska game since they're 4-1, we're just going to sim it, and of course Kellen Ramsey got hurt, which is why we lost. It must have only been for the game, but that really stinks, because now our 23-game winning streak has come to an end, and we're about to face off against number 2 Minnesota, who's undefeated. It looks like Kellen Ramsey's injury got him out of the Heisman race, and I know that the Gophers are only an 86 overall, but we've learned time and time again that doesn't matter, because last year Middle Tennessee Tennessee State was an 81 overall, and they have momentum and a home crowd on their side, so of course they're going to score on their first drive. I guess that really shouldn't surprise me much, and on this option run, we are just tossing it out of bounds. But what's more concerning to me is Kellen Ramsey isn't in the game, and even though he hasn't been on the injury report in recent weeks, he also hasn't been playing, so we're going to have to use our backup. And Brennan Alexander is much worse. I think he's only like a 79 overall, so it's no surprise that with about 3.5 minutes left, we're trailing by 10, and I feel like we just went from number 1 in the country to maybe not making the playoffs. There was somebody open, but since he couldn't get it out in time, it's 4th and 18, and thank goodness we're going to pick it up. But even if we're able to reach the end zone, we're still going to have to get a defensive stop, and Alexander does not have any legs on him. He is so slow. How on earth did he just make that throw? Of course, the refs are going to hit us with illegal touching, though. I didn't even realize that that was 4th down, but we have lost another game, and if we don't win out, we probably won't make the playoffs. I mean, I know for a fact that we're not going to make the Big Ten championship, and how on earth are we about to take down Notre Dame on the road? I guess I can try to do what I did in the Oregon game, and now that I see Kellen Ramsey out there on the field again, that's exactly what we're doing. We are going to control the clock to the best of our abilities by running the option a ton, and I've pitched it to Gene Estes, who doesn't have the speed to take it to the crib, but I'm not worried about it because we are going to mix in a little bit of passing, and now if nothing's open, I can just scramble with Ramsey for the touchdown instead. I have figured out the formula for getting defensive stops on this 3rd and 13. There's no way anyone was open, and we've been running the ball so much that play action makes them bite down. I'm going to just launch it to the end zone, and of course it's off the marks. That should have been a touchdown, but we have a kicker that has like 97 kick power, but it hits the post, and I cannot believe that here at the end of the 3rd quarter they still haven't scored, but it looks like they're finally going to at least get a field goal, and this has been a defensive battle, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Going into the 4th, we're up by 7, and with only 5 minutes on the clock, we could probably burn through all of this. It's just going to take picking up some big 3rd downs, and Ramsey is able to evade the pressure and scramble for the first himself, and this is a huge 3rd and 3, but they read the counter perfectly, so we could punt it back to them, but I'm going to go for it instead, and it's going to pay off. We are about to win a game 10-3. I should just be taking quarterback kneels at this point. We could have burned through all the clock, but Kellen Ramsey is so much fun to move around with, and he won't make it to the end zone, so now it's probably time to just play it smart. We're getting to celebrate with the trophy again, and obviously the player of the game came from our defense. At this rate, depending on which poll you look at, there's a chance we could get a 1st round bye, but we have to finish the year strong, and against UNLV, we destroyed them. Fast forward to week 14, and if Minnesota beats Wisconsin, we can't win the Big Ten, but I'm more worried about our game at UCLA, and we win by 18, and apparently the Gophers also lost, so there's a 3-way tie in our division, but I have no idea what the tiebreaker is. Unfortunately, it looks like somehow Oregon got it, but right now we have a 1st round bye, so I'm not going to complain, and we didn't have anybody in the final Heisman voting, but Chester Huffman ended up winning the Lombardi Trophy, and I'm pretty sure I pointed this guy out at the beginning of the rebuild. As for our offense, we did not throw the ball well, and we must have had a lot of injuries as I'm seeing a lot of split stats. As for Jordan Young and Eddie Rogers, they obviously didn't get many looks, and imagine regressing from 15 receiving touchdowns to 3. Somehow in the latest college football poll, we're sitting up here at number 1, and look at all of these 2-loss teams down to number 12, and of course we might play Notre Dame in the 1st round again. Our last matchup ended 10-3, so nobody wants to see it, including myself, but that's what we're going to get as Penn State only put up 14. There's been no shortage of this rivalry matchup in the rebuild, and hang on, does that say we have a top 5 defense? I didn't think we were close to it, but the stats don't lie, and that means the only thing left on our challenge list is keeping a winning record versus Notre Dame, which we have a chance to do in this exact matchup. I also just realized that if we won it all this season, we could complete the USC rebuild in 4 years instead of 5, which would be amazing. For a while, it looked like it wouldn't be possible to get into this position, but now I need to take it seriously, and there's no way that that was just picked off. This is the worst possible start we could have had. It got twice as worse once we went down 14-0, but we are going to score a touchdown, and it no longer feels like a defensive battle. It is a full-on shootout against Notre Dame, which is a lot more fun, but at the same time, it's frustrating because I just haven't been able to stop this offense, and they're about to pick up another 1st down. Their quarterback is 7 for 7, and I did hit him with a little bit of the play action here. They got in some pressure, though, and we can't do a thing. I'm going to try to avoid being negative, but it's about to be 28-7, and Elvis Jones still doesn't have an incompletion. Our style of running also isn't going to work because we're already down by this much. We do get the 4th down, though, so that does give me a little bit of hope, but I think we're going to leave too much time, and we fumbled the ball. Let's just say we haven't been able to get it any closer than 14 since then, and the passes have been so off target, but since we still have all 3 of our timeouts remaining, I'm just hoping for the best, and on this 1st and 10 play, obviously the rusher is getting in, but I'm going to throw it on the tight window, and that's beautiful. It would have been nice if we played this way all game, but we have a chance, and on the off chance we're able to get the ball back, I'm going for the 2-point conversion now because I do not want overtime. I'm going to need to see this so-called top 5 defense. What is that? I ran ran commit and everything and we still couldn't stop the run, but it's not over yet and I am still very determined. On 3rd and 15, I'm expecting a quarterback draw, but they have actually passed the ball, and what are they thinking? That is intercepted. Yes, come on, click on. Why was it on a little gray thing? I don't care. I do not care. We've taken a lead. Notre Dame just choked so hard, and if they end up getting a field goal on us, I'm not sure how I'm ever going to recover. That is a massive sack, and now they're not hiking the ball, and I've never seen the game acting this glitchy before, but what is that dude doing wide open? There's supposed to be a man on him. This is cover 2 man. What is happening? No. I don't even have any words. I don't want to talk about it. I am just ticked off. This is ridiculous. And we have a dude with 97 speed, so I might as well just chuck it up to him. He is quicker, and did we really just run right by him? Come on, Young. Come on, Young. Come. I don't even know if I'm speaking English at this point. What is this game? This is an ESPN Classic #1, easily. And I just realized if I throw a pick 6 on this play, that would end up giving points to Notre Dame, so I'm throwing it away. I am not leaving a single thing up to chance. This ball has been put so high in the air that we can get guys over there to just make a tackle, come on, end the game, and I don't even know what to say. I very rarely get left so speechless while recording, and Kellen Ramsey might be the greatest quarterback of all time. He couldn't make a throw all day, but then he clutched up, and I don't know what 2 games could possibly be ranked higher than that. Obviously, we have a 97 speed wide receiver, so when I saw the press, I was like, yeah, more than likely he's just going to toast by that safety, but for this play, 43 should be in man coverage like everybody else, and he just takes off and jets at the QB. I need to take a minute to settle down, but we have completed all 6 of these challenges, and after squeezing that one out, we can't lose now. So I'm thrilled that Oklahoma's gone into Tuscaloosa and destroyed Alabama. The Crimson Tide were a 95 overall, so I was intimidated, but either way, after that last game, I don't see our offense getting stopped, because when we needed it the most, we have finally figured out some stuff that works, and I can't get over the fact that I legit just played in a game that you'd actually want to tell your friends about. The beautiful thing about YouTube too is I have it captured, so I will always have that moment with me, and Oklahoma can try to score to keep up with us, but I just don't see that happening. It would be a disservice to all of you if I lost after we played that game, and this has to be a championship season now. Kellen Ramsey made this throw in the clutch when we needed him to the most, so I'm going to attempt it again, and I can't believe I haven't been doing this all year. Or maybe that's why I haven't been, because apparently 97 speed does not come with very good hands. Now Oklahoma's been gifted a chance to get it right back within a possession, and we need to intercept this ball, boys. I'm kind of surprised that they're going for it on 4th and 10 here, but all they had was a screenplay drawn up. And could this be the time that Young runs right by the defense and then burns them? No. We have the speed over there, but we don't even get a chance to get the throw off. This time we do, and it is going to be underthrown, so that's intercepted. And what a miserable offensive performance this has been for us, but I'm going to throw it to that tight window, and we got as close as you could get without picking up the first down. But on 4th and inches, we just decided to go backwards. This game feels exactly like the first Notre Dame one. The smart decision is to just control the clock and run out as much time as we can. We've gotten it to Young, who's going to make one guy miss, and what in the glitch just happened? It's kind of crazy that I'm using USC and we actually have a defense that can hold a team to only 3 points, but we're still riding the high from that Notre Dame game, and I'd honestly love a chance to get revenge against Minnesota, but they only have 10 seconds to get into the end zone. They're down by 4 on Georgia, and he is getting in. We have an opportunity to avenge ourselves for what happened earlier in the year, and since we've already completed all these challenges, this could be the perfect ending. We have gone through too much to lose now, but on their first drive, they've moved it down the field effortlessly, and I don't know how to say this quarterback's name. It's something like Max Shikenjanski, but I'm just not 100% sure. And here on 3rd and goal, we just need to stop the run, but we're not gonna. That is not an ideal start for our defense, but the play action has faked them out, and their safety can't keep up with Young. Whenever he actually holds onto the ball, he's really good. On this 3rd and 4, we just got to make the tackle, but we don't. But the refs are bailing us out with a clipping penalty, and I forgot I'm playing with USC. That is a nice benefit to using someone like the Trojans. Of course, when we play a team like Minnesota, we're going to get a couple calls to go our way from the team upstairs, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop Ramsey and his speed. Rodgers is going to pick up the first. But if I'm remembering right, Ramsey didn't even play in the game against the Gophers, so this is their first time seeing him, and I hate going for it on this 4th and 3, but I just know that we're able to take off with him and just pick up the first pretty easily and effortlessly. However, I'm seeing that Alexander is in the game, and that is very concerning, but apparently he's just out with bruised ribs and will return soon. We ended up just running it for a while, and by the time he's back out there, we're up 27-14. He's going to take this one on his first play back to the crib. And our defense is obviously the main reason that we've been able to do so well, as we just held them to a 4th and inches. And I'll never get why they're playing so passive. In the end, we're going to win by 14, getting our 2nd championship. And I'm just so proud of the boys for pulling it off, especially since we had to come back against Notre Dame. And this trophy feels so much better than the last one. We also get a little back-to-back trophy. And it's no surprise that this team had so many players go on to the NFL. But if you enjoyed this video, especially with the new backdrop that I got here, make sure that you go ahead and watch another one, because I promise you will be entertained.